back during the Royal Rumble in 1990, Hogan and Warrior are going to kind of cross paths for the first time. And while the interaction was brief, the fans definitely responded. It's reported that on the house shows during this period, the crowds are responding way better to Warrior than they are to Hogan. And in some cities, Hogan is even getting booed. Kind of a big change of direction here for Vince and company. What do you think of them putting two baby faces together in the main event? That's not usually a formula that works, right?
No, not really. No, but yeah, it was true to life. Those guys didn't get along, so I mean, it was a believable deal. But yeah, they were two bigger than life stars. I think. Yeah, it was like putting Macho in there with them. Yeah, that was good, and it worked. They had a good blow off match, relatively. You know, neither one of them was a great worker. I mean, you're not talking about Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels, great workers in the ring. They had Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, and they drew tens of thousands of people. I mean, and neither one of them are a wrestler.
And they went 2 minutes. Pretty long match for those two.
That's a long match. It's a long time out there.
It is.
Especially from the bell. You're out there a lot, figure you're going to double your time going around the ring doing your bullshit before they ring the bell.
Yep. Those guys put in the work, and apparently Pat Patterson was training with them. Where this wasn't a match like a lot of you guys back in those days would say like, I'll see you in the ring, we'll call it, we'll figure it out. They went over it and over it with Pat Patterson over the course of days in a private ring. So man, it was a pretty choreographed match.
Well, that was the starting of something new, right? I mean, now I think that's pretty common. I think they have a ring stashed away somewhere, and they go over their matches and stuff. But Pat Patterson was groundbreaking in that. Decide to put a ring up somewhere in a ballroom of the hotel and go through the match. Because Hogan could walk and talk. He could do it. Warrior, his best part of the match was running down and shaking the ropes. But hey, my best part was, I'm not criticizing. It worked.
Objectively, Jim, do you think that putting the belt on Warrior was the right choice at the time, despite his limitations? As a reminder for fans, Warrior was working roughly 1 minute most of his matches. He'd come down, shake the ropes. The guy would get short heat, and that's it.
I didn't realize that was a deal. Now I kind of feel vindicated, right? I just said the best part of his match was running down and shaking the ropes. I did not realize. Usually, by the time he went on, I was long gone, man. Yeah, me and Terry Gordy, Dr. Death, Steve Williams were down the road somewhere, man. By the time that main event hit.
I did want to ask Jim, like the Warrior and the belt, I know that a lot of guys definitely feel a certain way about him becoming the flag bearer for the company. Certainly Jake has got his opinions, Ted too. How do you feel when it came to that whole thing?
I thought he did. I thought he was the type of guy you need as a world champion. You need somebody like that. He was a jack off. Nobody liked him. He wasn't personable, but I think he was a good standard bearer. I mean, when he walked in, people said, "Oh shit, that's world champion." Hogan walked in, that's world champion. They had that marquee look, and I think that's just a big part of it because a lot of your stuff is outside the ring. Those guys do so much PR and stuff, but yeah, I thought he. More so than a guy that's a great wrestler and low key. I think you'd rather have somebody over the top than somebody that, hey, he can really grapple. He's a hell of a grappler.
Fans don't care.
Yeah. Nowadays, I think they're more into actual wrestling and extremeness. The more extreme, the better.
I'm with you.
There'd be a lot of short careers. Yeah, poof.
Now that I've started wrestling, Jim, one of my favorite phrases that I use for some of the young guys who want to do crazy stuff is, that doesn't work for me, brother. Let's find a different way, pal.
Yeah. Hit me with an elbow. I'll sell it like off the top rope. I'll sell like a son of a gun. You don't have to do that to me.
Yeah, I'll sell like you shot me.
Give me a really dirty look. Whoa. That was what Papa Shango did to the Warrior, wasn't it? He did the
voodoo.
Warrior, boom, he took the bump.
Well, last question on this before we move on to some of the stuff that was going on with you. Man, like I said, the Warriors getting all yeah, we could talk about Jim, I guess, on his podcast. I mentioned Warriors getting all these really crazy reactions on the house shows. Hogan, not so much. Were you personally beginning to feel like maybe the Hulkamania thing had run its course? It was time to go a different direction?
Yeah, it's hard to stay that hot for that long. And he was hot, you know. And people get, you know, it's just human nature. They get tired of it, you know. How many say your prayers, take your vitamins? Now they want somebody, you know, more extreme. You know, they want somebody antichrist like Austin. You know, you
Mhm.
get guys run their course, and but Hogan, that's why he went down and reinvented himself when the NWO Rocket was going Hall and Nash. The Rocket's going Hall and Nash, Hall and Nash, Hall and Nash. Hogan takes over the and boom. A master move in wrestling. People don't realize that that rocket for the NWO was going, and everybody's talking Hall and Nash, and Hogan made the Hollywood Hogan and stole a lot of the steam.
It takes a smart, savvy businessman to be in the right place at the right time
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
time.
He's hung around a while.
Yep, he's done all right for himself.